Notes where I'm reading. Welcome to my World History Notes where I'm reading from the book I wrote, excuse me, already, to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible believer looks at world history. It goes from the beginning up through the end of World War II, and then I'll continue on my own after the book is finished. So I'm in World War II right now. You can purchase my book on lulu.com, amazon.com, the Bible Baptist Bookstore. Just follow me here. So we're in World War II. We're going to start with the Battle of the Atlantic today. Um, the Battle of the Atlantic heated up in 1943 as U-boats made a heavy toll on Allied shipping. The turning point of the Atlantic theater of combat was Commander Peter Gretton's convoy of 42 merchant ships, which conducted a running battle with U-boats from April 28th to May 6th. He lost 13 ships but sunk 5 U-boats, and things started to change. 2 more U-boats were sunk by aircraft, and the British focused on submarines operating out of French bases. Admiral Dönitz, the German U-boat commander or naval commander, shifted the range of his U-boats, and then the U.S. Navy began the hunter-killer campaign with killer groups with escort carriers and anti-sub planes. Amazing and remarkable running battles took place between Allied warships and U-boats. The German U-boat was doomed. Allied kills exceeded the Germans' ability to build new ones. With the Mediterranean being more open, the Allies slowly slowed the running of supplies to Murmansk on the Baltic Sea and began to move more supplies through Iran to Russia. In fighting in the Arctic, the Tirpitz was seriously damaged by British midget submarines after a successful German attack by the Scharnhorst on Spitsbergen, hurting Allied coal mining and loading installations. The bomber offensive of 1943 resulted in the city of Hamburg, Germany, being incinerated, with one German writing that the bombing on July 26 and July 29 was a catastrophe, the extent of which simply staggers the imagination. Peenemünde was bombed in August because of intelligence that it was the site of a pilotless jet aircraft, which turned out to be the V-1 aircraft and the V-2 rocket, possibly launching along the Channel coast. Possible launching sites along the Channel coast were bombed and mostly destroyed. Then came the Battle of Berlin, where Bomber Command concentrated its efforts against the German capital in 16 successive raids. The fateful Schweinfurt raid took place in October 1943 when Army Air Corps bombers hit the ball bearing industry in the heart of Germany. It was successful but so costly to the Allies that a temporary halt to daylight bombing was called. In December, the 4 long-range fighter escorts, the P-51 Mustang, in December, the long-range fighter escorts, the P-51 Mustang, greatly increased the survivability of bomber crews. In the Mediterranean era of 1943, the Allied forces in North Africa were in a stalemate against the German forces due to a poor communication and coordination between commanders. Then on February the 14th to the 22nd, Rommel launched a 2-pronged surprise attack against the U.S. Second Corps. His armor rolled up the scattered and poorly organized American units, supported by Luftwaffe in classic Blitzkrieg style. American General Eisenhower rushed in reinforcements, but Rommel smashed through the Kasserine Pass in what proved to be a bitter defeat for the Allies. Rommel retired his force unmolested after the battle while the Allies collected their dead. Attacked again by German armor under General Arnim, the British counterattacked 4 days later, and then on March 6th, Rommel was repulsed in another attack on General Montgomery's positions. Monty, as Montgomery was called, attacked the Italo-German lines at Mareth from March 20th to 26th and was so successful that the Allies regained the initiative. The Axis powers retreated under the pressure and with a shortage of supplies were defeated at the Battle of Tunisia from May 3rd to 13th. The Luftwaffe had been withdrawn to defend Sicily as American General Omar Bradley had relieved Patton of command to assume command of the force set to invade the island. The Axis hold on North Africa was broken in this battle that resulted in nearly 300,000 Italian and German POWs. The situation was so desperate that the Italian Navy made no attempt at evacuation. In July, British General Montgomery and American General Patton's forces made an amphibious assault on Sicily after a month-long bombardment of air bases there in Sardinia and in Italy. The Axis counterattacked, but Patton's army swept through western Sicily by the end of July. The German resistance was fierce, directed by one-armed General Hans Hube, a veteran of the Russian front, but the Allies pushed forward. The Germans succeeded in evacuating 100,000 men, 10,000 vehicles, and 50 tanks to the mainland before the Allies victoriously occupied Messina on August 17th. In July, the war-weary Italian nation overthrew the dictator Mussolini, and he was imprisoned. But on September 12th, one of history's most daring commando raids, led by the famous German commando Otto Skorzeny in Operation Oak, freed the imprisoned dictator. Hitler ordered him to form a new fascist Italian state loyal to Germany. This was because Mussolini's successor in the real Italy had surrendered to the Allies. British troops landed in Italy, and the secret armistice, which the Italians had signed under their new leader, Marshal Badoglio, was published. On September 9th, Lieutenant General Mark Clark's Fifth Army landed at the Gulf of Salerno, but German counterattacks and accurate artillery made their gains a matter of inches at a time. Reinforcements called the Germans to retreat. The Germans now had disarmed their former Italian friends and treated them as an enemy, taking their equipment for their own use. Several American armies and British slowly made their way north against an incredible German defense. So we'll talk about the Winter Line and the German Field Marshal Kesselring, and then we'll go. Well, no, let's finish with Italy here for a minute. From November 20th to December 31st, the Winter Line, so named for the 10-mile deep defensive line that German Field Marshal Kesselring had formed, much of it under the command of the German 10th Army's Heydrich von Vietinghoff. The ancient Roman Catholic Benedictine monastery Monte Cassino stood above the Rapido River, and it was pulverized the following February to force the defenders back. An amphibious operation at Anzio was planned beyond the battlefront in order to cut the German line of communications. The landings at Anzio became a bloody siege as German counterattack after counterattack kept the beachhead a death trap for 3 months as the Allies were fought to a standstill at the Rapido as well. Anzio cost the lives of more than 30,000 Allied soldiers. Finally, the Allies did break through and victoriously entered Rome on June 4th, 1944, 2 days before the Normandy invasion, hot on the heels of the retreating Germans. So we're going to talk about the Soviet Union next, and then the invasion of Western Europe. So we'll continue, and I hope that you'll look into some of this stuff, study it, try to understand it, and dig deeper than I have. Just wanted you to have a general idea of these things that happen. A lot of people don't remember studying this or never were taught it, and they're just ignorant of our history. It's very important that we learn history. Thank you.